Hello. There is a quiet war going on, not with guns and bombs, but with two powerful groups that shape every society: the intellectuals and the entrepreneurs. One lives in the world of ideas, and the other lives in the world of reality. Both are essential, but when one dominates the other, society pays a heavy price. Today, I want to ask a difficult question. Which group do you believe should lead and fight for Africa's benefits? Let's start by defining them clearly. Intellectuals live in the realm of ideas. They think, write, analyze, critique, and debate. They are found in universities, in the media, in politics, and in think tanks. Their strength lies in understanding abstract concepts, explaining problems, proposing theories, and framing narratives. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, live in the realm of reality. They test, they build, they risk, and they innovate. They solve everyday problems and turn those solutions into value, into jobs, products, and build industries. They don't just talk about what could be, they create what is. In a healthy society, these two groups should complement each other. The intellectual generating new ideas and the entrepreneurs testing them in the real world. But in our time, and especially in Africa, the balance is broken. Many intellectuals have come to believe that their ideas alone can change the world, and that anyone who questions them is ignorant or immoral. They design beautiful theories that sounds good in seminars, but collapse in the real world. And when those ideas fail, instead of examining their mistakes, they create new ideas to justify the failure, repeating the same cycle over and over again. Thomas Sowell once said, "There are few things more dishonorable than misleading the young." And that's exactly what has happened. Generations have been raised on intellectual fantasies that sound noble, but destroy initiatives, responsibility, and accountability. Take a look at some of the most disastrous intellectual projects of the last century. Socialism, which promised equality and delivered poverty. Postmodernism, which denies objective truths. Cultural Marxism, which divides people into race, gender, and class. critical theory and intersectionality, which teaches that life is an endless power struggle. What about fourth wave feminism, which redefined empowerment as conflict? Social justice, which replaces fairness with vengeance. And extreme environmentalism, which fights energy and industry, the very thing that lifted billions out of poverty. These ideas cannot come from farmers, builders, or workers. They came straight from intellectuals, from classrooms, not construction sites, from faculty lodges, not from factory floors. And the tragedy is that they're still being exported to Africa today through foreign media, NGOs, and Western-founded institutions wrapped in moral language, but carrying economic poison. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, don't have the luxury of theory. Their ideas must work or fail. They don't just imagine how to feed people. They build farms, logistics, and supply chains. They don't debate about inequality. They create jobs and they lift families out of poverty. They don't talk endlessly about climate change. They invent cleaner energy and more efficient systems. Again, Thomas Sowell put it perfectly when he said, the first lesson of economics is scarcity. There is never enough for anything to satisfy all those who want it. The first lesson of politics is to ignore the first lesson of economics. End quote. That's what separates the two worlds. One grounded in reality, the other escapes from it. Entrepreneurs are accountable to results. If their products don't work, they fail. If they mismanage resources, they go bankrupt. But intellectuals face no such consequences. If their ideas destroy economy, they write another book about why it wasn't tried correctly. Like all those socialists who complain that the real socialism hasn't been tried. All those that have failed in the Soviet Union or China, Cuba, Ghana, Tanzania, and everywhere else around the world are not real socialism, but counterfeits. Well, that's why they are still demanding to try again. Now, Africa is caught between these two forces. On one hand, intellectuals dominate our public discourse, writing reports, attending global conferences, and designing beautiful policies that never leave paper. On the other hand, entrepreneurs are on the ground fighting bureaucracy, corruption, and bad infrastructure, trying to build something that actually works. But who gets more respect, attention, and funding? The intellectuals. Because talking about development has become more profitable than actually doing it. We celebrate people who describe Africa's problem eloquently, but ignore those who quietly solve them. Both groups are necessary, but the balance of power must shift. Africa doesn't need more untested theories. It needs proof of concept. We need more doers than debaters, more builders than broadcasters. Ideas matter, but only when they serve reality. Because no idea, however elegant, can replace electricity, food, or clean water. Again, Thomas Sowell said it bluntly: intellectuals are not held accountable for the consequences of their ideas. And that's the core of the problem. If your ideas fail in the real world and you suffer no consequences, you will keep producing failures. So, young Africans, here is my message to you. Respect intellectuals, but don't worship them. Listen to thinkers, but follow builders. Read theory, but test it in practice. Study economics, but build enterprises. Study politics, but create products. If you want to transform Africa, join the side that builds, not the side that endlessly talk about building. Entrepreneurship is not just about money. It's about taking responsibility. It's about proving your ideas work in the real world. And if they don't, you learn, you improve, and try again. That is how progress happens. Not through ideology, but through iteration. Africa's future depends on which group wins this war: the talkers or the doers, the planners or the producers, the dreamers or the builders. I admire both. I'm mostly an intellectual, but also building. At this stage of our history, the continent needs results, not rhetoric. We've had enough manifestos. It's time for machinery. Enough theories. Let's build factories. Enough promises. Let's deliver power, roads, and skills. So the question isn't who's smarter, the intellectual or the entrepreneur. The real question is who's accountable for reality. Because in the end, reality always wins. And only those who build, fix, and innovate will secure Africa's future. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, put your comments, and If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Your help is needed to help us spread this message. Thank you very much.